Hello everybody and welcome back to Pokemon Ranger! So, the last part we captured a Machoke that was on a rampage, and we are currently on a mission to clear out the Grimers that have essentially overrun in the waterworks. And now for this area, what you see here. Now, you would think around here would be a place we see some Grimers already. But no, this is actually just this right here is just an area where we're gonna be, where we are going to find some Koffings. Oh, and also, now what this guy says here is that this lunch around here is really slippery. Yeah, even just as slippery as slippery ice. So make sure you work yourself around that. Oh yeah, and what you saw there? Yeah, that's essentially what Koffing does. And also one of her Pokemon does too. Is that they actually expand their bodies? Well, yeah, every single time you do a loop around them? Yeah, I don't get why the developers decided to do that. Yeah, honestly, I have no clue why they chose to do that. Yeah. But anyways, now and also everyone, now what you just saw from that other Koffing is that they actually spew out their poison mist in the overworld as well. But thankfully, the poison mist not only does it not stick around, but it also goes away after a while. So thankfully, you don't have to put up with it for too long. And also the poison mist does not. And also the poison mist does not. Yeah, that poison mist does not hurt you in the slightest. But anyways, everyone. Now we need it. Now for the main reason why we caught that Raticate is because we needed to essentially cut down this metal fence. Yeah, and I believe there was one more area around here where we're gonna need another Raticate for. So, but however, we don't need to go all the way back there again, just so we can actually get ourselves another Raticate. Yeah, there is actually going to be another Raticate later on. Yeah, but you're gonna see what I mean as we actually get to that. But anyways, now we have Croconaw. Yeah, as you can see. Yeah, Croconaw is definitely more aggressive than Totodile. Yeah, as you saw with those three water puddles that it did in a row. Yeah, that is essentially what you have to be on the. That's essentially what you have to be on the lookout for. But anyways, and now we have our next pile of sludge, which means, of course, more Grimers. Now, and I guess I should say this as well about Grimers. Now, even though this mission wants you to essentially clear out the Grimers out of the waterworks, but however, this is now going to be the last time that we're going to see Grimers in the waterworks. Yeah, you're definitely gonna see. Yeah, you may see what I mean. Essentially, for when we get to a post game, essentially. Yeah, and with that, there goes a whole another set of Grimers. Okay. Now we are gonna traverse over there and just a bit. And now we have this part of the waterworks is where we're gonna be traveling through, and is where we're gonna be traveling through some pipes. Ditto. What are you doing? What are you doing here? You're capturing the mass outbreak of Grimer? It sounds like the perfect job for a rookie. My mission is to investigate the Go Rock Squad. We got word that one of their members is lurking down here. But anyways, it smells beastly here. I can't be wasting any time on my top priority mission, so I'll be on my way. Yeah, you surely will be on your way. But anyways, now since we just entered our first set of pipes, I may as well tell you this now. Yeah, some of these pipes that we can go through actually is actually where Corfish can also be in too. Yeah. And I feel like I want to go back, considering that there was another section of the pipes that we could enter before. Yeah, and I do recall, if I go that way, it'll essentially go to where we actually have to go. This other pipe right here. Now, as we go through this, Corfish. Yeah, that right there is what I was getting at when it comes to the Corfish. Yeah, because there are some Corfish that are going to be inside these pipes. And as I said previously, these Corfish are fast. And they will immediately start going after you as soon as they spot you. And even if you do try your best to run away from the battle itself, but even after that, these Corfish will still go after you like crazy. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, as you saw, going down this way essentially just gets you another drowsy if you actually roll 1-1. Yeah, but it's not really all that important that you really need to know. Excuse me again. Yeah, but anyways, now as we get us back up here. Yeah, like I said about these Corfish here. Yeah, these Corfish can definitely be a pain in the ass to deal with here. Oh god, no, oh god, that was close. Yeah, that was way too close to fall off down there. Definitely way too close. But anyways, oh god. Oh shit, Now, as you saw, yeah, there was a little bit of a thing there. Yeah, on the other side of that water there. Yeah, we're actually going to be interacting with that eventually. Yeah, and you're definitely going to see what we're actually are going to be doing with that. Yeah, you're definitely going to see what I mean by that. But anyways, now as we go up this way, now as we go towards here, now we have here a waterworks wall, which we need the ability to crush it in order for us to be able to break it. But however, thankfully, there is a Pokemon that we can actually get down here. So then we can see what is on the other side of that wall. So yeah, so thankfully you don't have to wait for too long in order for you to be able to find out what exactly is on the other side of that wall. And I guess I should say this right now. Now, I would say it is beneficial for you to do this now rather than later, because yeah, it will definitely save you a whole lot of time. Yeah, and it will definitely save you a whole lot of time, especially of course if you are trying to get find and capture every single Pokemon in the game a lot more faster. Yeah, but anyways, now as we go over here, and hello Aria again. Oh, what is it, Ditto? Do you want to cross over to the side? It won't be any fun if I just tell you, so I'll give you 2 hints. I'm only saying this once, so listen. There is a post here, and there is a Tangela somewhere. You can figure out the rest for yourself. I have to be going now. Bye. Yeah, and by somewhere she literally meant, yeah, with this post. Yeah, now we got a brand new field move that we can use, and it is called Cross. And with Tangela that we just encountered here, actually has that ability. Now with what a Cross does is that now when you see that post, now you essentially just now you essentially do the very same target clear. Now you essentially do the same target clear as before. Now then you essentially have the Pokemon I carry you over to where that is essentially to where the post is, which is what you're gonna see right here. By the power of Vine Whip. Yep, and there you go. Now we are on the other side. Now we're definitely gonna be doing this for quite a bit in this game. But anyways, now we have ourselves a Meditite. Now I believe this Meditite is the Pokemon that I was talking about that can actually utilize Crush. Yes, indeed it is. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, now thankfully there is a Pokemon down here that we can actually utilize Crush for, so that we can break down that, so that we can actually break and shut down the wall. Alright, Meditite, do your work. Break! Bust down that wall. It was shattered into tiny pieces. Thank you, Meditite. Okay. And now, what's on the other side of this wall are not one, but two Pokemon, and that being Oddish and also our next recharge, and also our next recharge Pokemon, Magneton. Now, normally we would see Magneton much later, but I would say it is definitely beneficial for you to encounter this Magneton early. Considering what we are going to be dealing with once we are just about to be done with the sewers. Once we are just about to be done with the waterworks mission. But then as for Oddish here, I would say it is definitely beneficial for you to encounter Oddish here now, because yeah, we are going to be encountering Oddish later. But it will require a field move that we cannot get in the area where we're going to be finding it. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, I'll explain more about that for when we actually get to the more Oddish encounters later on. But as I say, it is definitely more beneficial for you to get that, for you to be able to get that Oddish right there. Yeah, it is. I would say it is definitely more beneficial for you to. I would say it is definitely more beneficial for you to get that, for you to get this Oddish right now. But anyways, now, anyway, what's everyone? Now as for the field move Cross. Now I will say this, only free Pokemon in this whole entire game can actually use it. Yeah, only free. So yeah, and we're definitely gonna be seeing them. Well, mostly Tangelas with this, but as for the other two, not highly likely, but we are gonna see them as we go for this. But anyways, now as for this area that we just went to, has another scrap metal, which unfortunately that we cannot do anything about it yet. Yeah, this is something that we can only do much later on. And I mean much later. But there is a special purpose for me to come here now. It's because this area is the only place where you can get yourself a Squirtle. So yeah, definitely go here if you want to be able to get your Squirtle. Yeah, especially around at this point in the game, essentially. So yeah. Now But anyways, now we're just gonna be walking back. But first, yeah, right down here, there was only just Tangela. Yeah, it's really no big dealio. Okay, now we're once again gonna be walking all the way back to where we just were, which of course leads into once again Gastos which of course will lead into Gastos and Tangela, which we once again have to cross where we have to cross from that same post, and in order for us to be able to get that Meditite. Anyways, use them fine with. Oh yeah, and as you can see as well, Tangelas in this game really do love jumping around. The Tangelas in this game really do love jumping around. And considering that for the most part they do try to run away from you, but at oftentimes, these Tangela are very easy enough for you to be able to catch up to anyway. So it's just that these Tangela really do love to jump around and whatnot. But anyways, God freaking damn this Croconaw. Yeah, I really do not want to get it. I really don't want to be bothered by it. So I'm just gonna let it walk up there first. Yeah. But anyways, Tangela, once again, do your stuff. Give me cross, bitch. Anyways, bye again. And now it says another pipe. And I think this is where we're gonna run into another Corfish, right? No, it's not this pipe, but it is another one. Yeah. Anyways. Oh, another Crocodile, another Totodile. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Now, this right here is the one I was talking about before. Yeah, there is another fence here. There is another metal fence. But thankfully, we don't have to walk all the way back again, just so we can actually get ourselves status. Just so we can actually get ourselves another Raticate. Now, I believe it is right past where we had to face against the Corfish. Yep, there it is. Yep, I had a feeling. Now, I guess I should point out about Raticate is that, just like with the Makuhitas, once the Raticate notices your capture line, it will go right up towards your capture loop to be so that it can attack it. So, excuse me again. Jeez, I do not know what the hell is wrong with me today. But anyways, everyone. Now that we got ourselves another Raticate. Let's have you gnaw it down, Raticate. Yeah, once again, Raticates are really good at chomping up cutting fences. But anyways, now what's your reward for coming here? Crawdaunt! Yep, now this right here is the only place in the entire game where you'll be able to get yourself a Crawdaunt. And now, here's where we get our very first Pokemon that actually requires you to be able to do at least 10 loops in order for you to be able to get them. So, yeah. Now at this point, expect to encounter at least a few more Pokemon that of course will require at least 10 loops. 10 loops in order for you to be able to get them. So yeah. But anyways, I really don't care for this Corfish. Yeah, since we're not going to be coming back here anyways for a much longer period of time anyway. And with that said, I feel like I've done my fair share for this one. Yeah. And so until the next part, I'll see you guys next time.